Spring has sprung in the great state of Iowa, and if you've been thinking about getting outdoors with your family during the best time of year, we want to help you here at Plaza RV. We are a locally owned RV dealer in Bondurant who cares about our customers before, during, and most importantly, after your purchase. Give us a chance. We will treat you like family. Buy local. Buy from Plaza RV.
Eric Church Free the Machine Tour. Live at Wells Fargo Arena, Saturday, September 27th. One epic night of music that you won't want to miss with special guest Marcus King Band. Get tickets now at highvtix.com. His new album, Evangeline vs. the Machine, is out now. For more, visit ericchurch.com.
Join us for the Murph and Andy Patio Tour every Friday, continuing this week at Either Or Eatery and Patio in West Des Moines. The family-friendliest patio in the city, complete with Lua beers, craft cocktails, and fantastic food. The party starts at 1 this Friday at Either Or Eatery and Patio in West Des Moines with Murph and Andy and Iowa Everywhere.
Murph and Andy, proudly presented by Ramsey Subaru, live and on demand across Iowa everywhere. From the Channel Seed Studios, this is Murph and Andy. Murph and Andy, connected by Cellular Advantage.
This is Murph and Andy. Welcome to June. Getting it started here. Summer vacation's getting cranked up for, I guess, Andy, you probably have a couple of kids in your house getting that summer vacation going.
Yes, they are downstairs on YouTube right now, if I had to guess.
But not watching this, just to be clear.
No, they're not watching this. They're watching, I don't know, somebody playing Minecraft or God knows what. We're into summer vacation. We got it started on Friday. It was a big deal in the neighborhood. The parents were every bit as excited as the kids. I think
that'll change.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it'll change fast. It's probably already changed, but it's I said it last week. Summer vacation still slaps with all of us. You still feel it.
Slaps.
You get a little contact high off the start of summer vacation or the end of the school year, however you want to look at it, and it just kind of feels good. And I think you kind of remember that feeling as
feeling.
A kid. And you kind of have to live vicariously through your kids. But it also, I don't know. I mean, the weather is good. We were over at a friend's pool and having beers, hanging around in the lawn chairs. I mean, boy, it's funny how important a good lawn chair becomes as you get older. And there's some really nice lawn chairs out there. There's like the ones with the shocks. You got some of those, Andrew, where you take those out to the ball field or something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Sit back in those. Those are more comfortable than the chairs you got in your house.
They are. They're
multiple
heavy,
cup
though.
holders.
You have to lug them around.
Yeah, there's 2 cup holders, like 2 for one person. It's not a couch. It's just a single chair, but you got 2 cup holders and you can use them both. We were hanging out in those and it was fun just watching the kids run around and play, and they all just feel like they've got this, new lease on life. And so the rest of us kind of, went along with that. But in reality, this actually gets kind of worse for us, right? I mean, we shouldn't really be celebrating this because
you're not on vacation.
No, you're not on vacation. The only thing that's changed for you is it's hotter when you drive to work and drive home. And you got your kids at home. So a lot of us have to kind of find things to do with them, stay on them. We did morning chores today, which was kind of a chore in and of itself.
You establishing the summer. Here's what you're going to do.
Yeah, as I recall, last summer that held up for about a week. But yeah, it's like, and then like the kid excuses, which you can remember because you use those excuses. It was Eddie's job to empty and fill the dishwasher.
That's a tough one. That was the highest paying chore in our house. Now, you don't pay for chores, right? It's just part of your residency.
Yeah, it's
Is
part
that
of
your
room
system?
Part of room and board. Yeah,
Part
it
of room
is.
and board. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, he emptied the dishwasher and then he filled the dishwasher with everything that was not in the sink, which there were a bunch of dishes in the sink because, of course, that's what you do. So I was like, Eddie, you didn't finish filling the dishwasher. There's nothing. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. He has this attitude and stuff. I'm like, look in the sink right now. He goes, oh, I thought those were to be washed in the sink. Man, don't play this with me, kid. I know these excuses.
He
I've
probably
been there.
put some of those dishes in the
these.
sink.
Yeah, I probably did. So we had to, come back out and do that. So anyway, it's off to an interesting start. And Andrew, you were saying like this is kind of hard with summer because the kids' programming doesn't really begin this week.
Yeah, right. Like my kids got out of school last Thursday. Friday they came to guest house and hung out and watched the show. But they're going to like the Urbandale schools. It's called Adventure Time summer program. But that doesn't even start until this coming Thursday. So, we have 4 days where it's like, oh, figure it out yourself.
I remember those days of, we got afternoon camp here for 3 hours. That's 3 hours. We've got some time to do something else besides chase these kids around. It's been an eye-opening weekend for me just because we had so much family staying here at the house for the wedding. I'll talk about it a little bit later. But like my office here where we do the podcast, my sister Barbara is sleeping in this office. So today I was like, okay, now where was this light?
She sleep on the desk?
Yes, Andy, she's sleeping on the desk.
Would you give her like a sleeping
She's
bag?
3 feet tall. No, we have a bed set up. I can't turn this camera
like
around.
a hospital cot?
Yeah, kind of a hospital cot, but she says it's really comfortable. So she may take it home with her. I don't know. I don't even know how it got here because we didn't have this bed. Jenny probably went out and got a bed.
Showed
That's
up,
the kind of thing Jenny will do. So we have all that going on, and every room was full. And you forget when you're in the moment, like when even right now, you and Andrew with a couple of kids, and you have well-behaved kids, all things considered, there will be a time when you all get back together and you're like, how did we do this? Like, I forgot how chaotic it can be at times, but it's also a blessing. I did kind of step in it yesterday. So my sister Barbara and her nephews, Cade Colin and Jenny, were all out to lunch, and we're taking Colin. He was the first one to go back. So we're taking him back to the airport to go back to Tempe, to Arizona State, because he had to be back to be at work today. It was internship. So we're taking him to the airport, and we stop to eat, and the waitress, we tell her, if you could put the order in right now, we're on our way to the airport. And she's very nice about it. She said, oh, that's great. She said, well, where do you go to school? And he says, Arizona State. And she says, oh, Arizona State. My uncle went to Arizona State. And I say, oh, man, I'll bet you he liked to party. And she says, yeah, he couldn't. He was a quadriplegic.
Kind of a who's the asshole situation there, right? I mean, is it you?
I can tell you who felt like an asshole.
Yeah,
me.
right. I mean, but that's an innocent comment that you made. I mean,
well, I bet he liked to party. No, he couldn't. He was a quadriplegic.
A famous party school, and it's something that most people would probably react to the way you thought that she would react.
It's the first time it's happened because I've used that line on Small Talk a couple of times because Arizona State has, almost 100,000 students across the country each year at various campuses. So yeah, and it got worse from there. Like the conversation continued, and I stepped in it. I still feel bad about it. Like, I mean, you talk about.
Did you try to rally? Like, how did you try to rally out of that? How did you steer into the fishtail? Oh, I just tried to. I can't tell some of the details. Well, I mean,
it got worse.
Actually, I did hear that that's a good party school for quadriplegics too.
I didn't go that.
Oh,
route,
you telling me that a quadriplegic can't still have a good time?
I did try to rally a little bit,
spin it around on her. Oh.
And then she said something. Well, yeah, he didn't have use of his arms or hands. at one comment I made, and then I couldn't get out of it, and I just felt bad. And Cade and Colin are both biting through their lips not because they think that's funny, not that he's a quadriplegic. Of course, they're very empathetic kids. They want to laugh because they know that this is now the most awkward conversation they've probably ever seen a person have. So they're just.
It also just sounds like a professional hit. Right?
It was a professional hit. Yes. Let's get to the Guest House Tavern and Oyster in West Des Moines, because I'm feeling it again the moment the secondhand embarrassment. No, that's firsthand. Sets the table for sports and more today. Coming up, we got the Chaser Pacers, the Checkmate Mad, and college candidates all coming up. It's all presented by Guest House Tavern, where we stopped Friday for the patio tour.
That was a really good stop. I ended up hanging out for quite a while afterwards. And then it was turning over to the dinner crowd. That dinner crowd was getting started early there. It was like 5:00 and it was already loading up. It's good to see. It's
Do we still have AD?
Oh, yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have the video from Guest House Tavern?
Let's do it.
Welcome to a fun Friday here on the 2025 Patio Tour, live from Guest House Tavern and Oyster in West Des Moines, place with great food and beverages. Andrew,
Yeah.
They do have a Wisconsin Old Fashioned.
Yeah, I know this. I've been here.
Careful.
And the cool thing about the Wisconsin Old Fashioned is you get a pull tab with it. The dangerous thing is you can win another Wisconsin Old Fashioned on that pull tab.
Before we step into the buzz, Scott wants to know if you could lift one of these Ham's beer signs out of here for him. Yeah, anytime you're here.
They're so cool.
You can't see it here, but there is a wall of classic neon signs. There's Schlitz, Olympia, Miller High Life Hams. What in the hell?
This is something that we will only get at Guest House Tavern and Oyster. You get to try your first raw oyster. Let's throw it down. Slurp. Oh, that's awesome.
I'd like to think I said a few interesting things Friday. All anybody wanted to talk to me about this weekend was that raw oyster.
The oyster shooter.
I did not enjoy it. I'm done. I'm one and done. Unless there's a way to make money.
You got to try again. You got to try. There was just one little one.
But you can get grilled oysters. Those are fine. Oysters Rockefeller. Those are good.
You can get them grilled, baked. So you can get sautéed, breaded.
You can have a lobster roll and get a steak there. Get some poutine. I don't need another raw oyster. But you would go eat a dozen?
I once ate 6 dozen. One sitting, and they were all bigger than that. I think I could eat more than that too. Yeah.
Why you wanted to do that, or you were challenged?
I wanted to do it. There were, man. I mean,
sick man.
It used to be that you could go to a happy hour at a seafood place, and they would be 25 cents a piece. I was in Florida one time where, honest to God, they were 10 cents a piece, which sounds like 10-cent gas at this point.
They're not 10 cents these days.
No, they got crazy expensive. Not sure exactly what happened. I mean, I part of it is they got more popular, but
the oysters went into hiding for a while, so they had to find them.
I mean, there's no doubt we overfished them, but they're now commercially farmed like crazy. So I don't know what happened, but yeah, you could go. There was a place called Boston Seafood in downtown St. Louis, and friends and I would go in college and after college and go sit down there for the entire happy hour and just eat as many oysters as we could.
And you had options. You could have them grilled or steamed.
Nope.
And you went with
they were all raw. Nope, they were raw oysters.
High or low since our last show?
Presented by Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax.
Charter Retirement Planning and Tax, you have got time on your side. If you're somebody in your 20s or 30s and you're watching this right now, I'm telling you, do not take that for granted. It slips away from you, but the time you've got right now, you want to start planning for your retirement, give Tim Hawkins a call. Look these guys up online, wealthcharterretirement.com. And
Do it before you die.
Do it like now. Do it this week. Make that call and get your retirement savings going. You will not regret it. So I'll go high. I spent basically my whole day on Saturday down at the Red Bull Soapbox Derby.
Look at that crowd.
First of all, I mean, what's a little deceiving here is that this was a perfectly blue sky, but because of the wildfire smoke, it's kind of hazy. So it looks like it's actually overcast, but it's perfectly blue. And this is, still probably 15 minutes before the carts go down the hill. So it's still filling in. It's a really big crowd for about the first hour of this thing. And there were 46 cars, 46 entries. So this thing went from 11:45 until 4:00.
Oh, wow. How much Red Bull were you on?
I had 3 Red Bulls before like 11. I mean, like 2 minutes before I found the other stuff to drink. So, I mean, I had a bunch of them. So I was hopped up for it, but it was a fun time. It's a really well put together event. I mean, these teams really put their cars together. This is my favorite.
Oh my gosh, Animal House.
And like the other judges, they had no idea what this was.
Did it say "Eat Me"?
I think it did on the other side. I mean,
Yeah.
it was pretty accurate. It did not make it to the bottom of the hill. A lot of these cars, most of the cars did not. They blew apart on the jump or, on like the figure eights but the crashes are the best part. So we judged every single one of these. And here's the judges table right here.
10s.
That's Ben Keeter over there on the left, the Hawkeye wrestler and football player. That is Layla is in the middle. She is a member of the Wisconsin Badgers hockey team, women's hockey team, which is the national champs.
Right.
And then these other 2 work for Red Bull and they kind of tour around. So we did have a couple of cars that we all gave perfect 10s to.
Wow.
But it was funny, like at the start of the race, I was giving people like 1s and 2s when the cars would blow apart like midway down the course. Cause I was like, they didn't even finish and the crowd's all bummed out. And so I got this like scolding text message from the supervisor saying, "You're judging on showmanship only, not performance." I was like, "Oh, okay." So, but the rest, then the others just started doing that. They would be like, "Yeah, well, the thing didn't make it to the bottom of the course." So they got to work that into. I mean, that's part of the judgment, right?
Part of showmanship is being able to see it.
Yeah, like
some of the people didn't get to see it.
Yeah, it's got to make it to the end of the course. I mean, these guys work on these things. Some of these teams put months of work into these carts. Now, some of them were just a bunch of drunk guys that showed up and put them together in like last couple hours. And I kind of gave them extra points for that because I thought it was pretty funny. But for the most part, I will say the other thing that did surprise me is these teams that were gathered around putting these carts together. I mean, it looked like they were tailgating. It really did look like they were tailgating. But
sounds fun.
By and large, they were not drunk, which like that just looked like the scene where, of course, you'd be throwing back beers while you were putting the finishing touches on your car. But I don't know if that was like one of the rules or something, is they couldn't, drink while they were there. They could only drink Red Bull. Or,
yeah, maybe they're all jacked up on Red Bull.
Some of them had flasks and they were making Red Bull vodkas and stuff like that. But I mean, for the most part, everybody was sober. I mean, you don't want to be drunk going down the hill. But man, here's the other thing is some of these cars, I looked at them and they needed an engineer to kind of go over them and be like, okay, that's not safe. Because you looked at some of these cars and I was like, all right, this car,
get the ambulance ready.
I'll tell you one thing about this car is it is going to put somebody in the hospital today. Because that's a big old ramp they go down, and they were hitting, some of these things are hitting the first ramp at 30 miles an hour, which is fast when you have no motor and no real steering. But I was shocked. There were a few of them that were really flimsy, and they made it all the way to the end. And there were a few that looked like they were built by, NASA engineers, and they blew apart, and they just, before they got to halfway down the course. So it was a little bit deceiving. Our friend Keith Reese Strickland, the great photographer, the sports photographer of sports and music photographer from here in town, he and his boys and some of their friends put together this really cool car. Looked like a camera. Wish I'd have had a picture of that. But
guess what? I got to see it before you did. He sent it to me, Reese did, and he said, I'm not sending this to Andy because I know he's a judge, so he can't see it ahead of time. So I did see it, and it was really cool.
Really cool. And he gets in the car. He's got a helmet and everything, and he's got, sleeves on, looked like he had kind of a jumpsuit on. He goes down, and he crashes hard.
Ooh, is he okay?
Hard. Kind of. I was like, I texted him. I was like, are you okay after that crash? And he texts back. He was like, I am bleeding so much.
Oh gosh.
Like,
road rash.
I mean, some of these guys had like short sleeves and just massive road rash. One dude had a sport coat on, and he crashed, and he got up, and the sport coat had one sleeve. And his arm is just dangling around. He's just like, bring the medical crew over to me. I was like, damn. So they had to sign a waiver and everything, but it was a really good event. And, I will say that was a full day for me and the other judges. We got there. I was there at 8:45 and judging cars until 4. So, but the weather held up for it, and Des Moines looked really good. We had a really good crowd there. And I would guess that they'll want to come back here in the next few years.
It was quite a day in Des Moines Saturday. So there's farmers market. There's 20,000 people or so for this Soapbox Derby. Yep. Shane Gillis was in concert. Wells Fargo Arena was sold out that night. Mm-hmm. Big crowd at the iCubs game. And then you had the Cooper DeJean softball charity thing. That was Sunday. But that's a big day.
And the Principal Charity Classic.
Yes. And the Principal Charity Classic. We got stuck in a little bit of that traffic taking Colin to the airport last night because it was about that time of day, 5:30. Mm-hmm. So yeah, all of that going on at once. And this is why Des Moines is the greatest city in the world.
Because we can do all this at once?
And have fun doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good Saturday for it. The weather was nice and warm, but not too hot. I did get a sunburn, although I was.
You do look like you've had some sun. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I'm going high. I had a wonderful family and friends weekend. I was the officiant at the wedding of Corey and Chandler, and there they are dancing. This was out at Bailey Farms, which is just a wonderful place in New Virginia, not too far from the fireworks farm where our friend Wade works. So it's just down the street from that. It was a lovely venue. The wedding was fun. It was great. Their orders to me, this is for those who are watching on YouTube or Facebook, it's my sister and Cade having a good laugh together. It was so wonderful to have my sister here, and just everything about it was great. I loved it. I know people get confused sometimes. They say, no, I didn't realize you had all these boys. Oh, by the way, this is DJ Hollywood. He DJ'd, he ran the audio for the wedding, had a lavalier mic for me, and then he went in there and turned it out for hours of fun dancing. He did a fantastic job. So that was great. And you can see people are having a good time. I know people do get confused sometimes. I didn't realize you had all these boys, but the best way I can explain it is, I've fathered 2 boys, but I got to be a dad to 6 boys. So, it's, a privilege of my lifetime. And here's the 6 boys with my sister, Barbara. This is the night of the rehearsal. And Andy, this is as Iowa as it gets here, out in the middle of farm fields. And you can see the tent for the reception there, and the wedding was held, by a beautiful pond, and the groomsmen had their own house the night before the wedding. And Todd Bailey took this photo, which is almost certain to win a Pulitzer Prize. I mean, isn't that a beautiful shot of a sunset on a farm right there? Was
he okay with being at Bailey Farms? Was he freaking out the whole time about that?
Well, my sister thought it must be Todd and Sarah's place.
Yeah.
So she was excited. Like she saw it. She said, "Oh, this is great. I can't believe Todd and Sarah have all this out in the country."
Yeah, I don't
but
see Todd being
yeah.
a real successful farmer.
Well, that's that's mean.
That's just being honest. I don't
Yeah.
see him being able to do that kind of thing.
And one of the tough things about
Great
Todd,
photographer.
I think Todd and Sarah had a great time. Sarah and Jenny got into a lot of mischief as the night went on, as the alcohol really
Drunk. Yeah, drunk.
Yeah.
Just say
And
drunk.
we arranged Ubers for
That's a
everybody.
long Uber.
That's a long Uber.
How much was that?
About $100.
Oh,
Yeah. So
one
that's
way?
I'm not sure if that involved the tip or not.
Yeah,
'Cause
of
we
course
got
it's one way. You're not going to.
What a guy named Travis. He was fantastic. We arranged a driver for my sister so she could come out to the rehearsal, which was great Friday night. But all of it was good. The biggest problem with Todd Bailey was you don't know if he's sincere when he laughs.
Oh yeah,
The Todd Bailey
a lot of it
courtesy
is
laugh.
he's just uncomfortable, so he's filling the space.
Yeah, it's got its own Wikipedia page now.
Gives him a little bit of space from the person if he's laughing.
Yeah,
A lot of people do that though. That uncomfortable laugh. And really,
Yeah.
what they're trying to do is just get the hell out of there.
Todd Andy says you wouldn't be a good farmer. And you don't know if he's out laughing. Another stepped in it moment though, Andy. So Travis, this really kind Uber driver, is taking us all to the wedding because we didn't stay on the farm Friday night. So Saturday around noon, he's driving us to the wedding. And I ask him in the car, I'm in the back of the van, and I ask him, how often does somebody leave their phone in the Uber? And he's like, oh, more than you'd think. It happens quite a bit. So I say to Jenny, who's up in the front seat, I say, Jenny, I never do that kind of thing, but do you remember the one time I left my phone in an Uber? Do you remember where it was? And she said, yes, Las Vegas. And we called the guy and he said, for $20, I'll run it back to you. So, we paid that. That was an easy thing to do. And that was the only time I left. So we go in and we're starting the rehearsal. And about 20 minutes later,
He
we
held
get
your
a call.
phone ransom for $20 is what
No,
he did?
this is Saturday now. Now we're moving ahead to Saturday.
No,
Travis drops
the
us
guy
off.
in Vegas held your phone hostage for
Correct.
$20 ransom.
Yes, he did. But we were happy to pay. We were like $20.
You were happy to pay it?
Well, versus not having the phone. Because a lot of times people don't get their phones
It was your
back.
only good option, yeah.
Yeah. So in the case of Saturday, we had a van full of people, and about, 20 minutes or so later, we get a phone call. Jenny does. She said, somebody, he's all the way up to the interstate, and he pulls over. What a nice guy. And he says, somebody left their phone in the van. And so we're asking around, and I can't find my phone. It was me. After the question in the car and after the story about how I never do that kind of thing. So he turns around, comes all the way back out to the farm and delivers my phone to me, which was a nice thing to do. Does not offer or expect any money or even want any money. But we insisted. But that was, I stepped in it a lot this weekend, Andy. That's kind of what I'm getting
You
at
had a lot
here.
going on. Yeah, a lot of
I did have a lot
you
going
took a
on.
lot of steps.
And I'm working. Oh yeah, look at this. Corey's nickname is Coco. Yeah, that's a good time.
I like the wedding
is
suits
fun.
there. I like those tan suits.
Yeah, they went
Sharp.
more casual. Nothing, just open shirt, the whole
Yeah,
thing. And
summery.
they told me as the officiant, they said, we want it full of love and fun and brief. So we got start to finish from the time I talked to the end, 18 minutes. That's pretty good.
Your entire spiel was 18 minutes?
Everything was 18 minutes.
The
from
whole
time-
ceremony was 18 minutes?
everything. I started at 3.
That's great.
And they were done, and everybody was walked back by 3:18. and the party started. So
man, I was the best man in my friend Scott's Catholic wedding, like old school South St. Louis Catholic wedding. I was on my knees for 45 minutes.
I got leg locked.
On my knees.
I was a groomsman at a Catholic wedding, and I got, when your legs lock because you haven't moved from one particular space for an hour. Have you ever had that feeling?
Well, yeah, I mean, but at least you were standing up. I was on my knees for half an hour on like the kneeler thing. Like, what's up with that? The whole thing was well over an hour. Well over an hour. Man, that's long.
Yeah, I've been in some weddings that were over an hour. Yeah, we got that going. If somebody says, "Oh, I was enjoying it, could have been even longer," that's what you want. You don't.
Yes,
you don't want anybody to say, "God,
want them leaving." Yeah,
leaving that would ever end.
Wishing they had more. Yeah, wanting more.
All right, let's get the buzz here on a Monday.
The Buzz. Brought to you by Logier Heating and Cooling.
If you called Logier Heating and Cooling and you've had everything checked out, you're going to be glad today because it's cooking out there. It's starting that temperature climbing up to about 86 today. So that was a good move if you did that. So we have our NBA Finals, and it is the Pacers versus the Thunder. Last night on Sound Off, Andy, you did a What's Bugging Andy on Sound Off last night on WHO 13. We showed in our poll there, our Sound Off survey, about 85% of fans said they want the Pacers to win. Not who do you think will win, but who do you want to win? So we are clearly, for Tyrese Hallebert and proximity, we're in Pacers country there. That's the rooting interest without a doubt around here.
Yeah, I mean, for the NBA, it would have been better to have the Knicks in the finals.
For sure.
But for us, I don't think there's any question. This gives us more. We have more rooting interest in the Pacers. I think even without Tyrese Hallebert, we probably
I
have
agree.
more interest in the Pacers. They're just being a Midwestern team. But that this is potentially. Well, I mean, it's already a really big story for Cyclone basketball. But I mean, it's potentially. The biggest NBA story ever. I mean, I guess it already is. But if he wins the title, particularly if he is, as instrumental as he's been so far in the playoffs, I mean, that catapults him to, totally rare air among former Cyclones.
And for a guy who was never first team All Big 12. I mean, he was second team All Big 12 his sophomore year. His freshman year, he showed potential, but I don't know, averaged like 7 or 8 points a game. And
every time he's out there, it's a reminder to us of how little we know about basketball, right? I mean, it's like we all watch Tyrese Hallebert and we're like, yeah, he's good. He looks like he can do everything. He's an NBA star though? Is that that's what these guys are saying? He's going to be a lottery pick? I mean, you're hearing
shouldn't he come back for his junior year at Iowa State?
We're all saying that. Oh, okay. Well, we did not know, and they did.
They sure did. And one of the things I think I get caught up in too much sometimes is bad ratings. Like you will see stories right now about this is going to be after a really electric playoffs for ratings for the NBA, a resurgence for ratings for the NBA. Now they expect this to nosedive, and we really shouldn't care, right? I mean, if these are two exciting basketball teams with young stars. I mean, this is a new chapter, and we should just enjoy it. If some people choose to not watch it because there's no LeBron or Steph or Knicks or Joker, okay, you're free to do that. But we're not paid based on the ratings, not the NBA ratings.
No, we shouldn't care, and it doesn't matter. I mean, some of the greatest series in history, don't have ratings anywhere near the top of the headlines. I mean, you're talking about incredible individual performances, comebacks, and animosity between team players. None of that has anything to do with ratings, but all of that can obviously build ratings, help to build ratings. And every single interesting team in professional sports started somewhere. Every dynasty starts somewhere. Every superstar starts somewhere. They all had a point. The New York Yankees had a point where nobody cared about them or nobody noticed them. I mean, really, they did.
And then they got Babe Ruth.
Started out, they were not one of the winning teams in baseball. But things start somewhere, and maybe this is where it starts for the Indiana Pacers. Maybe this is where Tyrese Hallebert crashes into the national superstardom scene. Or, you know, maybe this is where Oklahoma City does all of that kind of stuff. So, you know, you always have to leave room for that kind of potential. And, you know, sometimes it's nice to have a couple of pretty fresh faces. I mean, like I'm talking like the whole team face is pretty fresh for both these. It's been 25 years ago, the Pacers were in the finals. Who would that have been against? I don't even remember.
Oh.
Was it 25 years since they've been to the finals? Maybe
No, it wouldn't be the Celtics. They're both in the East
Yeah.
Conference. I bet it was the Lakers.
Probably the Lakers. Yeah, it seemed like they were always in it then. But it's been a long time. So this is something that potentially is the start of something great.
AD, this is a moment for you to, say it was the Lakers if they won the championship against the Pacers.
Let's assume it was.
All right, here is Hallebert on reaching the NBA Finals.
It's a special feeling. To do it with this group. We got to the same spot last year, fell short. And, man, we just worked our tails off as a group to get back here. Man, just really proud of the resilience of this group. This is a franchise that took a chance on me, saw something that other people didn't see in me. Sometimes I think they saw more in me than I saw in myself, and Coach Carlisle, the whole staff, KP, Chad, all those guys just stay on me all the time, to keep getting better, to keep improving, to keep pushing. And, man, I wouldn't be here without those guys. So appreciate them taking a chance on me. I love being a Pacer. It's there's nothing like it. And this is a really, really special feeling for me. I'll take the time to reflect on it, later because, still a lot more work to do. But, this is really exciting.
Good comments there from Tyrese Hallebert. And he was not the East Conference Finals MVP. It was Pascal Siakam, who averaged 25 points and 5 rebounds and played great defense. Hallebert had one bad game by his standards. He did hit the epic game winner and went to the choke sign before overtime, but also won in overtime. He had that unprecedented 32 points, 12 rebounds, 15 assists, 0 turnovers game. And the vote was 5-4 Siakam. And you could see in the postgame, if you're watching it, looked like Hallebert thought he was about to be presented with the MVP, but he said he was happy for his big brother Siakam, who's been, he said all the right things. It was a curious choice by TNT on their live celebration to not interview Tyrese Hallebert. I mean, he's a pretty big player in this series.
Maybe they're worried his dad was going to come running out and get in the middle of the interview.
I don't know. That surprised me. The Pacers and Thunder are both trying to win their first NBA title, or is this 2 for the Thunder? The NBA would tell you it's the second for the franchise. Let's get a quickie poll, AD, from WCI Pools and Spas and Ames in Urbandale.
Do you count the Supersonics NBA championship as one for the OKC Thunder franchise? Yes or no? I'm in the minority here. It absolutely is. But
you're gonna take this because of the Minneapolis Lakers.
I mean, that's part of it, yeah, but also, I mean, it is the same franchise. There is no Seattle Supersonics. They became the Oklahoma City Thunder. Facts are facts, whether or not you like them.
I think this would be the Thunder's first title, but Andy, without getting too much into the semantics, is this all about the wording, franchise versus team? I think it's their first title with the Thunder win.
It is about the wording if you're going to make that argument like Andrew is. But I mean, that was so long ago. That was
79.
I
probably?
was 79. So I was barely aware. I do remember that happening. That was Seattle's franchise. They had totally different colors, completely different name. There was nothing. I don't think there's anything connected to that old franchise anymore, to the Seattle Supersonics anymore at all. I was a fan of a team. There are more teams that have relocated than most people realize. Mm-hmm. I was a fan of the St. Louis Rams. I didn't think of them, even though they had the same uniforms when they won the Super Bowl in St. Louis that they did in Los Angeles. I didn't think, I remember they brought like Jackie Slater out. Remember Jackie Slater?
Sure.
All pro tackle, huge dude, great player. They brought him out and the crowd in St. Louis was like,
huh?
Yeah. Okay. We don't remember him at all. I didn't play here. So it was totally disconnected. It was, even though they had far more similarities than the Thunder and the Sonics, you just don't feel that way. And, if the Chicago Cardinals had ever won, or they were the Cleveland Rams, then the Los Angeles Rams, and the St. Louis Rams, now the Los Angeles Rams. They were the Cleveland Cardinals and the St. Louis Cardinals, now the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, those things, there is a statute of limitations, I think, for people.
Oklahoma City, please put your hands together for franchise legend
Jamal Wilkes,
Jack Sikma.
Yeah, right.
What?
We'll say Dennis Johnson.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
But
Interact
if they were going to be honored by somebody, it would be Oklahoma City Thunder, because it's the only franchise that's still
it's the only
exists.
option, right? I think Seattle will get a franchise back at some time, and I hope they call them the Supersonics.
It's like
they
Big Ten legend Reggie Bush.
Oh, what a Big Ten career Reggie Bush had.
I mean, it was
oh
great.
my goodness.
Has Jim Brown ever showed up in Baltimore? Cleveland won a bunch of titles before, NFL titles. Did the Ravens count that? I mean,
when you said that, I had to think,
around?
what is he even talking about? Then I go back in time, like, okay, yeah, that's right. That all ends up. That is crazy. Interact on YouTube, on X. It's Murph_Andy. The email is Murph_Andy at iowaeverywhere.com. It is all powered by the Cellular Advantage, proudly representing U.S. Cellular since 1993 with 35 regional locations, and it was good to see the Cellular Advantage's Doug Eklund out at the patio tour Friday. Andy, he did ask me to please stop saying that he's always on an island or a beach, that he is actually out there working hard and, not just having fun. But he did say this as he had a mule in his hand.
Yeah, he does have a lot of work to do. He's got a
does.
lot of stores, and they're all over the place. So he could probably do like one of those Chuck Grassley 99 county tours just to visit all the Cellular Advantages. But that's one of the things we like about that place, is there's always one of those locations nearby if you have a problem with your phone.
Jens and many others have pointed out, speaking of interacting, they are pointing out that with all I mentioned going on in Des Moines this past Saturday, I didn't even mention Comic-Con. That was also going on, and I think that was a big hit too.
So is that Comic-Con, or is that, it was called Des Moines Con? I was like, how many cons we have here?
I don't know. Andrew, how many cons we have?
I think we might have more than one.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
busy weekend.
Yeah, so that was going on. We had that on the news last night.
Really cool deal too out at Principal Park, the Cooper DeJean softball charity game.
Big crowd there.
Big crowd there, yeah. For Stead Family Children's Hospital, C.J. Beathard, the former Hawkeye quarterback, wins the home run derby. Dallas Clark, A.J. Brown. There were Riley Moss. DeJean was the big star there. That happens when you have a pick six in a Super Bowl winning effort, but that was a really nice event.
Jerseys in the crowd. Man. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Also this weekend, not positive on the pronunciations here, but Gukesh beats the world's highest, by the numbers they use to rank chess players, the highest ranked chess player of all time. He's reached a number no one has ever reached before, Magnus Carlsen. Now, Magnus, at the end of this, Gukesh,
he's reached a ranking of higher than one?
No, they have a point system of
okay.
like how skilled you are at chess.
Yes, okay.
And his number is higher than anybody's has ever been. It's like 1,000 something. I don't understand it. I'm afraid if I talk about this much longer, Sipker will do 10 minutes on it Friday, and nobody wants that.
No.
But so Magnus is playing against Gukesh. I hope that's the way you pronounce it. And he's 19 years old, Indian. And Gukesh is great too. But Magnus makes a blunder move, which no one sees coming. And in the world of chess, like Magnus, you can see him get angry when he realizes what he's done and he's about to lose.
my God.
Now, he is so upset with himself. Now, I think it's important to note here, as he walks by Gukesh, he taps him on the shoulder. His anger, he's not trying to take away from the guy who just beat him. You can see it there. But, Andy, are you laughing?
A little
or concentrating?
A little bit.
Okay. What, just at the passion?
Yeah.
And then the audience finally realizes, all right. We just had a shocking upset. AD, can you replay the beginning? Because I want Andy to have another moment to soak this in.
Oh, my God.
He's so upset.
Oh, my God. He about karate chops that table in half.
He is mad. But he made, and I can play the basics of chess. I don't understand, like, why everybody is shocked by what they call a blunder that he made. And you can see Gukesh is shocked that it happened, but he won. And that's the first time he's beaten Magnus at classical chess.
Yeah, he just kind of like walks away. He's like, okay, I don't know what this guy's going to do right now, but I'm going to give him some space.
And the crowd was in shock for a while. And then Magnus does tap him on the shoulder to say, like, you beat me, not trying to take away from what you did.
What did he do after that? He went to the bathroom and had a good cry. He melted down.
Or brought down the stall with some punches.
Went out into the parking lot and keyed everybody's car.
Bill Belichick's buyout goes from $10 million to $1 million today. Andy, will you gonna stick with it? He is going to coach North Carolina. He can now leave for $1 million. This is a guy who took the Jets job and never coached a game for the Jets.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna still say he's gonna coach.
I think he's gonna make it too.
You heard that he's engaged?
No,
I have heard that he's.
Do you have sources?
No, I mean just
believe.
the the stupid internet or whatever. But I mean, it's the same source everybody's got right now. Saw it on the internet. Yeah.
It's the same internet that had Caitlin Clark like rescuing a cub out of a cave and nursing it back to health.
Yeah, the same internet that had that kangaroo trying to get on the airplane last week. Like the kangaroo wouldn't get stopped before he got to the actual gate.
It was like so cute too. He's
like there's a problem with the kangaroo, but TSA didn't catch it. Okay, well maybe it's okay. We'll let the one girl at the gate be the ultimate decider here.
But isn't
we
it
got
possible,
totally fooled on that one?
What do you call the comfort animals? Not.
Yeah, the emotional support kangaroo.
Emotional support animals. Because remember when it was getting carried away and people were bringing like an emotional support squirrel?
Right. Wild animals and stuff, which
llama. So I thought a kangaroo was
takes
possible.
up a whole row of suit. See, I mean, I don't know. I don't. The problem is that I think the kangaroo is so big he needs a seat, right? I mean,
yeah, and you don't want to make him mad.
Yeah, the people that bring the dog can't sit in the seat next to you unless you'd have to buy a seat, right? It has to go on the floor and in front of you. The kangaroo's not going to ride with that.
A couple of flights ago, I sat next to a woman that took 2 seats but only paid for 1.
Yeah, I think most of us have seen that kind of thing happen.
86 years ago today, Niall Kinnock died on a training mission at sea. He is the only Heisman Trophy winner to play for an Iowa college. 86 years ago today. 10 years ago today, Andy, the Bulls introduced Fred Hoiberg as the new head coach. 10 years ago. Man, I took this photo.
Yeah. This was a shocker. I was, when this happened, I believe I was headed up to Canada with Bryce and Kenny Pink. I think that's how we found out about that.
That is right. Yeah, I remember having, when you guys had some cell phone connection, which is not much of the time up there.
Or is it toward the end of it or
exchanging some
something?
texts.
Yeah, right. And
so it'd be what's today, June 2nd?
Yeah, it was right around there. So, yeah, that was a shocker. That was a real shocker. That really, boy, man, that was not something that I saw coming. In hindsight, now it makes more sense, but I thought he was going to be there for the rest of his career. He had really figured it out.
At Iowa State.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, it was a bad meltdown there in the tournament,
right?
But I thought he really did have it figured out. I really thought that he was just, on cruise control.
And maybe stays in that head coaching job and then eventually becomes the AD perhaps or something like that. Yeah, it was a surprise, but it is one of those things where you can look back and say, hey, this worked out pretty well for everyone. Like, Fred's doing okay at Nebraska. He's got family ties to Nebraska. He's making a lot of money. He's there now. He's not in the fishbowl in Nebraska that he was, he was a hometown hero. He was a Cyclone Golden Boy. I mean, it was a lot at times to always have every head turn and everybody stop when you're there in Ames. So it seems like it's worked out for the Hoiberg family. Got to coach his son, all of that. And then you look at Iowa State, and they're on a 4-year run that's as good as any they've ever had here. 4 straight NCAA tournaments. Got a coach that's good for these times. It's well liked by everyone. So yeah,
didn't work out great for the Bulls, but
did not work out great for the Bulls. They are still digging out
at all.
Yeah, they are probably done hiring former Iowa State men's basketball coaches. They're 0 for 2.
It worked out best for the Hoiberg family bank account.
Yeah, all of it.
For Iowa State men's basketball, though it took a while because Steve Prohm was not a good replacement.
Yeah, started well and then phew.
Yeah, with Hoiberg's players, yeah. But, I mean, it has not worked out for Fred Hoiberg wins and losses wise. I mean, he has not recaptured what he had at Iowa State. He hasn't come close to that.
And Nebraska still has not won an NCAA tournament game ever.
Yeah, we can love the Hoiberg family, but be honest about that part. It has not worked out wins and losses wise.
Later this month, the F1 movie is coming out starring Brad Pitt. We are having a golden ticket contest here at Iowa Everywhere. The Iowa premiere will be at the Palms IMAX. We have some golden tickets. We'll start giving them away Wednesday. The premiere is Wednesday, June 25th at 7 p.m. And Russell with Fridley Theaters, the president, he has seen this movie already. It's from the director of Maverick. And he said this is also fantastic and needs to be seen in IMAX. So Chris Williams has already asked me for 200 tickets for that night, but that was a no. So sorry, Chris. We will be giving tickets to our viewers and listeners. So that's going to be fun to do. Now here's a world champion throat whistler. Like the guy who played MacGyver. What's that comedian's name? SNL. Not the new MacGyver or MacGruber.
Yeah.
Sorry, MacGruber.
Yeah.
Will Forte.
Yeah,
Will Forte.
Yeah.
It looks like Will Forte.
The mullet and the mustache make the whole thing much better.
It's really great.
And
Andy,
the crowd shots.
Yeah, the crowd shots.
The crowd shots are incredible. Andy, you can you do what that's
throat whistle?
I don't even quite understand it, but
no, I can.
That's good. AD whistling good or no?
I can whistle like normal, but I can't do any of like the high pitched stuff like Andy does.
What could you
dogs
whistle?
are going to be here in 2 seconds.
Could you whistle the open to the Andy Griffith show?
I mean, I probably could.
Yeah, don't do it, though. We'll probably get flagged.
Oh, yeah, good call.
Yeah, Confluence is the official beer of Murph and Andy. And Confluence is where good things come together, and they are just days away from the release of Old Tavern. This is maybe their biggest promotional push ever. Has its own website, so that's coming up here in just a few days. Right now on Murph and Andy, let's get some more.
But wait, there's more from Either Or Eatery and Patio.
That is where we will be on Friday on the Either Or patio, and it's a great patio. There is a ton of room, and we can honestly say if you want to come out and bring your kids, they're out of school this week, and you want something to do with them, you still want to come hang out with us during the show, bring the kids to the Either Or patio. It's a great place for them. Andrew nodded his head
My
there.
kids will be there.
Oh, yeah, your kids are well behaved too, Andrew. I wanted to note that to you and Judy.
Thank you.
I watched them at Guest House Tavern this past week, and they listen to you. They do what's asked. They're really good
Just
kids.
got lay down the law a little bit, Murph.
Well done. Well done. Because I have grown kids that were not behaving all weekend, so I know what that's like. So also, Andy, by forecast here, supposed to be another glorious day. We are really doing well with the weather forecasting for these patios.
Yeah, it's supposed to be another really, really, really nice day, and it is the start of kind of their summer patio programming. So they've got some special things planned for us on Friday, for everybody on Friday. So if you haven't shown up for a patio tour stop yet, or if maybe you've made them all, we would love to see you on the Either Or patio on Friday. 6222 Grand Avenue, right on the edge of Des Moines and West Des Moines. You'll find it. We had a chance to see the Northern Lights this weekend, but they were probably blocked by the wildfire smoke. So I wanted to show this picture. This is north of Flin Flon, Manitoba.
This is real?
This is real. This puts this into perspective, how big some of these fires are and how the smoke is getting all the way down to Iowa. So these lakes here that you see in the foreground, these are probably all bigger than Lake Okoboji. These are huge lakes. This is Canada. These are giant lakes, and there's just tons of, but look at the size of this fire. Look at how high up that is going. That is a wall of flame. That's incredible. That is like, you are not stopping that fire. The lakes won't stop the fire. They'll jump across the lakes. Jeez. Unbelievable. Canada asking other countries to help. I mean, really desperate. And again, it's affecting us as well as this drifts south. And at this point, there isn't really any end in sight. It's hurting our air quality. Let's quickly run to the major leagues for 5 seconds of baseball highlights and a reminder of the worst that can happen when you don't keep your eye on the ball.
Right in.
Look at this. Just
the tip.
Oh,
his face,
right.
too.
He just lands in his junk.
It's so brief, but just for that moment that he has 3 balls, that's painful.
Lester Holt signed off over the weekend, or on Friday, called it a career, had a 10-year run as the main anchor at NBC News. I thought it was a classy move at the end. I mean, he had just a perfect outgoing kind of speech, but then brought his whole team out.
That's nice.
Producers, the directors, those running cameras, writers, all of that, brought them all out there with him on camera. And he has been so fantastic for NBC News. And
got out before anybody wanted him out. That's always a good move.
That's the way you do it. Yeah, you got out with everybody still wanting more from you. Tom Yamas takes over today.
I don't know who that is.
You'll recognize
him
when you see him.
That
He's been
wild?
A reporter for a long time.
Like, how different is that than 20 or 30 years ago? Like, they've named his replacement. I'll probably recognize him when I see him, but right now, that name doesn't resonate with me.
He's been kind of a replacement anchor and a common reporter. He's very, very good as well. From the files of Some Headlines Don't Need Stories, we bring you this. British Airways flight attendant goes missing on super jumbo jet, found naked and dancing in a bathroom bender.
What,
okay.
Hang on. The person missing works for the airlines?
Yeah, was working at the time. And they were like, where is so-and-so? And they had to search the entire plane. So a crew member with British Airways has been arrested after being caught having a naked dance session in a bathroom during a flight from San Francisco to London. This is a guy. He had been noticeably missing from his duties during the 470-passenger meal. That certainly needed his help serving that to almost 500 people on this jumbo jet. That's
Big
a long
plane.
flight, man. San Francisco to London? Wow. That's got to be like, what, 13 hours or something? That's a long flight. It's a double-decker plane, so they're having to go upstairs, downstairs. A crew supervisor eventually managed to catch up with him. They found him in the Club World cabin restroom, where he was reportedly completely nude and dancing. Flight attendants then found the man a set of pajamas, normally set aside for the first-class travelers, secured him in a luxury seat for the flight's duration. Secured, that means duct taped, right? They taped him to the seat. Once the plane landed at Heathrow, the guy was taken into custody by authorities. Co-workers suspect that he may have been using some drugs.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, they don't think that he was sober.
I've always wanted to get one of those luxury seats for a long trip like this, but they're so expensive. And for a moment, I thought, okay, I see the path, but it doesn't end well.
No, he is secured to that seat. From the bowels of Instagram, let's take a trip back in time to a classic summer vacation activity during an 80s childhood.
The idea was to fill a paper bag with fresh animal droppings. The fresher, the better. Then place it on the victim's doorstep. Once done, you'd light the bag on fire, knock on the victim's front door, then run to his backyard. Then when the victim arrived, usually the neighborhood grouch, he'd have no choice but to put out the fire. Meanwhile, you'd run to the victim's back door and begin pounding on it. This would cause the startled victim to run back through his home, soiling his fine shag carpeting with animal droppings while you've made your clean exit.
Wow, there's details there that we didn't have in our neighborhood, which was the back door knock to run through the house.
That little shit takes it up a notch, doesn't it?
That's more than poo shoes there. That's poo carpet, poo vinyl, poo wood.
I mean, did you know anybody that actually did this? I don't think I did. You did?
Okay.
Did you do it?
Yes.
You did? Oh, really?
Yes. I mean, with a group of idiot friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so stupid.
A group of enablers.
Yeah, that and, the bags full of water, water balloons that you'd, throw at car windshields from a distance.
Oh, we did
that
yeah. For sure.
This is obnoxious, though. This is Dennis the Menace type stuff here for Mr. Wilson.
Go to the back door to pull the guy back into his house, though. That's next
too
level.
Much.
That's too much. You see that little kid just celebrating that at the end, though, like touchdown dancing and around the back of the house there.
With that narration from 40 years ago or whenever that was.
Yeah, the neighborhood grouch, too, is the one that gets it. I mean, you did target those kind of people, which I have not forgotten that. And you shouldn't forget that. Because
I know. Yeah.
You know what's coming for you.
It's I have regrets.
Ring doorbells have really ruined this for today's kids.
Oh, yeah.
You're not getting away with this.
No. They need to remember that, too. Everything is on camera now. And neuroscience has determined that even though we're legal adults at 18 and you can do most anything at 21, the brain is not finished forming itself until age 25. So I try to remember this until the kids hit 25, that their brains are still developing, because those early 20s.
I don't know that's a hard cutoff either. Yeah, I think maybe with some people it hangs in there a little bit longer and ages you like into your 30s and stuff. But
yeah, I definitely had some knucklehead early 20s.
Yeah, I mean, you get that
teens.
like the grouch would be like, what would the grouch do if they busted you? So I'm going to call your parents. Your parents are going to hear from me about this. Well, that guy, all he's got to do is grab that Ring camera video. He doesn't have to call your parents. He just texts it to them, just emails them real quick. I mean, your parents will see that before you get home.
And the phones are listening to everything and watching everything. Yeah, we're all on.
It's really ruined it. Yeah, that's what we needed, that throwback there. That's your more, everybody.
All right, nicely done, Andy. And from more, we go right into Throwdowns.
Throwdowns. It's Throwdowns. Backed by Heartland Tire and Auto.
Heartland Tire and Auto, an authorized dealer of both Firestone and Bridgestone tires, treating you like family in Ankeny, Waukee, Knoxville, Boone, and Creston. Murph, will start with you. Inside the NBA is done on TNT, moving to ESPN next season. And many are worried that they won't have the same freedom that has really made this show what it has been. Do you think the move to ESPN will ruin Inside the NBA?
I don't think it will. I do have concerns because it's ESPN, and I don't have a lot of respect for many of the decisions that ESPN has been making in the last 10 or 20 years. So I do have concerns. ESPN has done some good things, but they've done a lot of dumb stuff too. So I have concerns, but I think ultimately someone, and you hope that someone there in charge is smart enough to say, look, we're hiring the producer of this show and we're not touching it. We are letting them do whatever they want as they've been doing, unchanged, full stop. If you don't do that, you are an idiot and you should lose your job.
Right. And you would also hope that the talent and the producers, everybody, truly in charge of that show, laid that out before this transition was made, right?
Hope so.
Where you said, okay, we're not doing this. We are not on board unless it goes the way that we want it to go. And, I think you can look at Pat McAfee's show and, I don't know if that show is going to make you feel better or not, but I mean,
they haven't changed it much.
They haven't changed it much.
Yeah.
So I think you can look at that as an example.
And for the love of God, no Stephen A. Smith. Leave him off this show. He's on 74 ESPN shows. We don't need more Stephen A. Smith.
He wants on this show.
He wants on this show.
You're going to at least
badly.
hear him shouting in the background.
Oh, for sure. Andy, the college football playoffs is moving to a straight seeding model. So teams ranked 1 through 4 will get the byes rather than the 4 highest ranked conference champions. Are you good with this change, or do you think winning the conference should come with a benefit?
I'm good with this right now because I'm still in this kind of like trial, wait and see mode where I need to see. I don't mind seeing different looks in the first few years, right? Different models, different options, so that I can compare them. We can all kind of talk about the pluses and minuses. If you just go with one method and stick with it, and you don't ever get to see, other attempts at making this thing as perfect as can be, then, you don't have a frame of reference. So I'm in favor of this change. I'll be fine with it for the year. But look, I fully expect there to be some new problems with this that maybe we don't anticipate, or maybe they're ones that we can see coming down the pike.
I'm okay with it because there is a benefit to winning your conference championship. You can't be left out of the playoff. So I think you do have that. And last year we saw that the seedings didn't produce great games because there is not balance across all the conferences. So I think this is the right way to go. They've got to do whatever they can to not do that ridiculous idea of the SEC and Big Ten just getting automatic qualifiers. We don't want college football to not be a meritocracy. It shouldn't be just benefit of being in this conference. We're getting 4 in no matter how well we played that year. The SEC hasn't been that great relative to the past 10 years, these past 2 years.
All right, Murph, take a look at the picture on your screen here. What's your next bite of this sandwich?
B, without a doubt, without a question. I don't need, what kind of maniac would go A or C on this?
I'm going to go C just to make it fun. All right. Because that B is the best bite you got, right?
That's the next bite. Anybody's going B.
Yeah, but I know if you take, I'm kind of one of those people, like when I eat, I like save the best piece of pizza for last. I save dessert for last. I try to earn it, you know? So the one C, the one on the right is pretty much 100% bread. So I want to get that thing out of the way. I don't want to get stuck with that one at the end. I want to get that one out of the way, and then before I've even swallowed the whole thing, I'm going to B.
Yeah,
Marty
I'm with
said
Andy
C.
on that.
This is a really funny.
AD, what are you going?
I'm with Andy. I saved the best for last, so I'm going with that C to get that out of the way. You don't want that bread corner, that crust corner as your last bite.
I'm always a little suspect of those people that want to tell you, look, I'm somebody who eats dessert first, you know, and like, you're like, oh God.
Yeah. So what?
Yeah. We're just like, look, I'm in this life to take a hell of a ride.
Yeah. And what it constitutes a hell of a ride is treating yourself first.
Yeah. I light the candle at both ends every time I have a candle.
It's just how I am. That's the kind of guy I am.
It doesn't leave me with a lot of candles, but they burn gloriously for a short time.
Send your Grimaldi's fan photos to Murph_Andy at IowaEverywhere.com. AD, who do we have in a fan photo today?
We have none today. I was having some issues with my my images, so
would you please describe what the photo would look like? Just paint a picture for us.
Yeah, I mean, it was I had them ready. It was a guy, Scott Anderson. He sent in, and maybe I'll bring him up on Wednesday.
Okay.
He went to the St. Louis Battlehawks game a couple of weeks ago, and that roster and coaching staff is chock full of Cyclones. Mm-hmm. So he had his Cyclones gear on. He said he got to see Hakeem Butler score a touchdown, and he even got Seneca Wallace's attention, and they had a little chat from up in the stands. Seneca Wallace is the quarterback's coach. I think Rocco Beck's dad is the head coach still in St.
Anthony.
Louis. We have not talked much about whatever the hell league the St. Louis Battlehawks play in anymore.
Think it's the UFL?
Yeah,
Sure.
the UFL, awful.
Does the XFL still exist? Did they merge?
There was a merge, right?
There was a
'cause
merge,
that was
yeah.
part of it. Yeah, the St. Louis Battlehawks, they actually get a really good crowd. I have a bunch of friends.
That's
My brother
cool.
likes going to those games too. Yeah, it is fun.
AD, I don't even need a photo. That was great.
Wait, when you have a piece of pizza, at what point are you taking a bite of crust? I mean, how many bites into the slice do you incorporate some crust? Do you wait until you get all the way down to the end?
I'm
where it's
working all
nothing
the
but
way
crust?
down to where it's just crust left.
I'm like 2 bites on the triangle, the corner,
tip.
the good, and then I go for the crust.
Yeah, I think I do that. Like I'm like maybe
to get a little
3 bites
mix.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, these are the important things that
The goal is for
we
me at the
discuss.
end to have one piece that has like a little crust and a good chunk of pizza, maybe a pepperoni left on there.
Yeah, I don't want to be
Stick
stuck with just
that whole thing in the mouth.
Yeah, like the pizza bones. I don't want to be stuck with that.
Each Friday, we give away a $50 gift card to Grimaldi's Coal Brick Oven Pizzeria in West Des Moines and District at Prairie Trail in Ankeny. It is time now for the Andrew Downs audio drop of the day. We call it the AD Squared.
And it is powered by Game Day Men's Health. You can find them as well in the Prairie Trail District of Ankeny. That's where I go each and every week. I know that's where Chris Williams goes. Brent Bloom goes there to get his weekly tee shot. It's a veritable who's who of Iowa everywhere up there. You can also go to University Avenue in West Des Moines, North Liberty on the eastern side of the state. So minor league baseball teams are always looking for a gimmick. The Kannapolis Cannonballers down in North Carolina have a bat dog, and you know what dogs do best.
Oh, no.
As Miss Casey Betty has made her appearance.
It's a good dog.
There you go. The bat dog has made her presence felt. It's a numero dos.
That guy just
behind
barely
home.
made
That is still a good girl.
The guy used
So
his
2
hand
outs,
and then he
Caleb Bonimer digs in.
He used his bare hand and then
Wow.
he grabbed the gate with his bare hand. I hope he's coming back to wash that off. Yeah, that happens, man. Those labs, they're like a fudge factory, those things.
Yeah, speaking of
Lewis.
fireworks, Andy, aren't we going to start giving away some Fireworks Farm gift cards?
Yeah, that's coming up. Starting, we'll make that announcement on Friday. We got that all planned up. We gotta let Wade Peterson get the rest of the way opened up down at the fireworks farm. We can't have Murph and Andy fans like banging on his door and demanding to get in.
I understand.
So, yeah, he's working his butt off over there.
Yeah, I went by there several times because it was near Bailey Farms in New Virginia. Quickie poll results presented by WCI Pools and Spas.
Yeah, he barehanded that thing. All the things to barehand at a baseball game.
You're getting a lot of laughs on a Monday. You're just in a good mood. I like it.
Andrew's done a good job. That sandwich.
Andrew,
you put together a pretty good show today.
Good job, Andrew.
Now bring me USA Today. Do you
bring me lunch, Andrew?
Yeah, Andrew. I'll pay you back. Never. Do you count the Supersonics NBA championship as one for the Oklahoma City Thunder franchise? No, says 84%. 16% say yes, Andrew. You're in very limited company.
Yeah.
A few Lakers fans watching.
You don't need Minneapolis. You don't need it.
All right. I need to take. I need to get Cody and Brandy and Mila to the airport. We thank you for being part of Murph and Andy here on Iowa Everywhere. We appreciate you supporting local media. My sister just subscribed. That only took 8 months. So, one at a time. One at a time. We're bringing them in. Please like and subscribe. Invite your friends to the party. And we are back Wednesday. We hope you are too.
Murph and Andy was brought to you by Ramsey Subaru on Hickman Road in Urbandale.